Hey everyone, it's Brian here from Massey's Main Entertainment. We are back here on a nice consistent basis, back to back weeks, and we are in almost finishing up here the first half of our top 100 favorite movies of all time. Remember, it's our favorite movies, not necessarily the best movies. Although I've always tend to reiterate that sooner or later we're going to start running across movies that are considered the best movies as well. So, joined as always, I'm with Rich Strickler. Say hi to Rich.
What's up,
Rich,
guys?
there you go. Rich got a great series going on where he is counting the top 10 songs for each letter of the alphabet, currently up to the letter K. Doc here is joining us after a really long weekend of partying. I know he really appreciates that.
Yes.
Randy is sporting his gear in support of his Royals, who are, did you say 5 games above 500 right now or 10?
10 games.
And eligible for a wild card if things were to stop today. So that's kind of great. So this is our countdown here. What we're doing is we're going through our favorite movies tonight. We're at that number part 5, so we're going from number 60 down to number 51, which will put us all the way halfway through. And since we're at the halfway mark, gentlemen, can you give me a little bit of what you think about the whole process? How much you think this is a worthwhile thing that we've been doing?
I'm thrilled that we decided to do it, and Randy sort of gave us the idea, I think, several months ago, and we sort of put it on the back burner, and now we're almost halfway through. I'm glad to revisit a lot of these favorite movies of mine and listen to what you guys have to say. It's been a great, fun ride so far, and can't wait till we get to the top and see the cream of the crop, as they say. So it's been fun.
Excellent. Doc?
Yeah, it has been fun. And yeah, and Randy did push for this, and I'm happy we jumped in and got into this. It's a gamut range of everything that we're going to talk about, and it's personal. And I think we talked about it at one time or another. There, we're going to leave off a lot of great movies off our personal list, no matter what. It's 100 movies, and we probably like all of us like 1,000 movies. So it's just the time, the moment that you're in right now. That these are your top 100 at this time. This can change at any time, but these are all close movies to us. I think that'll show as we go through the list. So that's fun.
Randy?
Yeah, I loved showing some of my old time favorites, and a lot of those are like older classics. Well, which I like to introduce people to, but also like Brian's movies, I'm learning some newer films that I need to watch as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the big thing that I've grabbed off of it is now I'm writing down movies that I'd like to be able to see and kind of chipping away at that, get a new perspective about some stuff that was a blind spot for me, for a long time. So the order tonight is going to be Randy, you have to go first because you went last week, and then Rich will go second, and Doc, you get to go third. No, me, I got to go third. I'm sorry, Doc, you get the cleanup. You get the back cleanup tonight. You're going to go Otani on us, I guess, huh? A little bit of that. So be sure to like, sub, and comment down below. I'd really like people to start, definitely putting their top tens down there. Tell us some of your favorite movies. Comment on the movies that we choose, even if it's a negative comment. At least it's feedback, and we don't take it personal. I mean, that's the great thing about music taste and movie taste is everybody's different, and really nobody's right or wrong necessarily. You know. Unless you're Doc, then Doc's wrong. But anyway, Randy, why don't you get us started?
All right, we're starting with number 60,
Yep.
and my number 60 is from 1931, James Whale's Frankenstein. Now, I love the Universal monster movies as they always had this great atmosphere, and James Whale was the perfect director for these as he was heavily influenced by German Expressionism. Also, Boris Karloff was the best Frankenstein monster, as he gave the creature this touching humanistic quality. So, 60, Frankenstein. Number 59, I know one person on this panel is going to have it a lot higher, and actually, it might have been my favorite movie at one time. It's gone down the list a little ways, and that's from 1967, Mike Nichols' The Graduate. This movie really put Dustin Hoffman on the map, and I became enthralled with Catherine Ross, just like Hoffman's character. It's kind of a unique comedy in that a lot of the situations that produce laughter are kind of nervous laughter. It also has two of the most famous lines in movies with Mrs. Robinson, "You're trying to seduce me, aren't you?" and Plastics.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, number 58. Sorry, Brian, but I got a musical here. It's Singing in Singing in the Rain for 1952, directed by Stanley Donen, and Gene Kelly also gets credit on this one. Probably one of the most respected musicals and probably the most famous dance sequence with Gene Kelly singing in the rain, really singing in the rain. I also love the setting of the motion picture as it's showing that the actors are dealing with the change from the silent era to the talking era, which really gave a lot of the humor in this movie. But yeah, I'm 58, Singing in the Rain.
Nice.
Number 57. This is my second movie from the French director Jean-Pierre Melville from 1967. Although I don't think he was born in France. I can't remember where he was born. But it's La Samurai. I did say I loved Max von Sydow as the hitman in 3 Days of the Condor, but I think that Alain Delon may be the coolest hitman of all time. There isn't a lot of dialogue in this stylish thriller, but it works perfectly, and it's probably my favorite film by Jean-Pierre Melville. Okay, number 56 from 1990. And I'm guessing that someone else is on this panel is going to have it a much higher too. And I'll probably let him talk more about it. But it's Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas. It's great. It's a great look at inside the monster. Monster. I'm still thinking of the Universal movies in the mobster life. And Joe Pesci probably has one of the best simmering, volatile performances of all time. But yeah, Goodfellas. I'm sure a couple of you are going to probably be talking about that more coming up.
Yeah.
Number 55 is from 1982, Sidney Lumet's The Verdict. Paul Newman stars as this down on his luck lawyer who gets a case that helps redeem himself. I think that this is Newman's best performance, and he should have received an Oscar. Instead, he got a makeup Oscar for The Color of Money several years later. At least that's my opinion on that. But and just has so many great courtroom scenes in this one. James Mason's also very good in this as well.
Yep.
All right. Back to 54. From 1934, W.S. Van Dyke directed this, and it's The Thin Man. Some of the other movies in this franchise may be better, but this is the one that established the formula and introduced us to the characters and made us love the chemistry between William Powell and Myrna Loy, they did quite a few films together, not just the Thin Man movies, but some of the other comedies they did were very good as well. And that's my 54. 53, 1951, Alfred Hitchcock's Strangers on a Train. Robert Walker plays this great psychopath who thinks that he has made a deal with Farley Granger for each of them to kill the other person's problem. It's a great story from Master of Suspense with a great final scene on the merry-go-round. Number 52, from 1959, it's Billy Wilder's Some Like It Hot. It's kind of this sexy screwball comedy with so many great Wilder one-liners, including one of the best final one-line in all of movies, I think. It's got Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis, who make a great duo, and it's probably one of Marilyn Monroe's best performances as well. It's a laugh fest, and it's one that never lets up, at least for me. And all the way to my number 51, and it's from 1941. I got another Preston Sturges film here. It's Sullivan's Travels. This is one of Sturges' most poignant films, as amid the humor, we get a heavy dose of the plight of homelessness on this one. It's a film that talks about the importance of humor in our lives, as the protagonist, Joel McCrae, posing as a homeless person, gets a new perspective on its value. Just a magnificent film. And that's my 51.
And
Awesome.
yeah, that's
Very good.
That's a great list. I know that's the only movie that you mentioned that I haven't seen. Surprisingly, I've seen Singing in the Rain, so I've seen a handful of musicals, and that's one of them for sure. And you turned me on to like Samurai, So that's I mean, I'm big on that. So, and Strangers on a Train is just Hitchcock
Yeah.
at his best, one of his best there. So Sullivan's Travels I haven't seen though. That's one that I've
Oh,
got to
it's
see.
good. It's great.
That's good.
The only one I haven't seen is La Samurai, and I've been putting that off, but I need to check that out. You guys both rave over it, so got to check it out.
Great list. I love the Strangers on the Train. I love the Hitchcock. Yeah, your list is great, man. It's like one
It
of the
is.
good-
It's
It
strong.
really is.
Very strong.
A lot of big time movies on that
But
list.
you might be right about the Goodfellas comment as well. So that's what I'll say.
He's definitely going to be. I think he's going to be right, but I think we're going to have a sweep on that down the line.
Yeah, down the line. Yeah. All right, Rich, you're up, bud.
All righty, number 60. I've got The Hustler, which is starring Paul Newman from 1961. Classic Paul Newman performance. He's playing Fast Eddie Felson, hot shot, overconfident pool player, trying to take on the legendary Minnesota Fats and gain the rep of the best there ever was and that type of thing. But it's really a character study at the same time. There's a lot of life lessons in here. He's associated with some unsavory kind of people. Great supporting cast. George C. Scott as a gambler and Piper Laurie as the alcoholic girlfriend with troubles of her own. Jackie Gleason as Minnesota Fats, fantastic. And a great early Paul Newman film, I see. I think everybody knows that movie, and if they haven't, they should check it out. Number 59 is The Color of Money.
Wow.
Paul Newman revisited 25 years later. In fact, this came out in 1986, directed by Martin Scorsese. This time, Paul Newman is the mentor of a young hotshot played by Tom Cruise. And I just think this is a great look at a man down the road whose past is behind him. He's taken on a new role, like I said, a mentor, and teaching this kid the ropes in the pool circuit. He's financially backing him as he works his way around. And there's some great camera work in here with some of the shots and some interesting, colorful characters here as well. John Turturro and Forrest Whitaker show up. Mary and Elizabeth Mastrantonio plays Cruz's girlfriend. She's very good as well. And eventually, Paul Newman gets drawn back into playing after he's coaching and financing. And there's that classic showdown at the end between Newman and Cruz. And it's a great follow-up to The Hustler. I like them both, and I wanted to put them near each other on my list. Number 58, 1968, directed by Roman Polanski, Rosemary's Baby. Now, I don't have a lot of horror films on my list. In fact, this might be one of a few, maybe a handful tops. But Rosemary's Baby's got a great reputation at the time. A young couple played by Mia Farrow and John Cassavetes move into this Manhattan apartment building, which is really the Dakota building, which John Lennon was living down the road years later. A famous building in Manhattan, right off Central Park. And everything seems normal in the beginning. She's pregnant, she's going to have a baby, and then things slowly unravel as she meets the neighbors. Ruth Gordon is a standout in this role here too, as the neighbor. She gives a lot of pizzazz to her role, and it's mysterious, it's atmospheric. Polanski does a great job directing it. There's a sense of paranoia is really what you think going on. It's a psychological, haunting, demonic masterpiece. So it's on my list of 58. Number 57, Preston Sturges, 1941, but it's not Sullivan's Travels. It's The Lady Eve, one of my favorite movies, and it's definitely on here. A top-notch romantic comedy starring Barbara Stanwyck and Henry Fonda. These con artists on a voyage from Europe back to the United States, and they're trying to fleece some unsuspecting son of a millionaire played by Fonda. And Barbara Stanwyck's in there with her father, played by Charles Coburn. Of course, Stanwyck and Fonda, two of the biggest stars at the time. Flawless performances. It's a wonderful screenplay, clever dialogue, just a total delight from Preston Sturges. And of course, he had two great films in one year, which is unbelievable, with Sullivan's Travels that Randy had and Lady Eve. I think they're both outstanding. Number 56 is one we've talked about, or I've talked about pretty much in everything we've done, and that's Breaking Away from 1979, directed by Peter Yates, a coming-of-age classic, just a real treasure, a sleeper at the time. People didn't know much about this when it came out, and it became a hit. Four friends from Indiana entering the transition period of their lives right after high school and either workplace, college, wherever they're going, what to do next. Everybody goes through that, I think, in their lives, finding yourself, growing up, all that good stuff. Great cast of Dennis Christopher, Dennis Quaid, Daniel Stern, and Jackie Earl Haley. They play the four young guys, and the great dialogue between them. They're swimming in the local quarry. They enter the little 500 bicycle race as a team, and they're seen as social outcasts they're called cutters, by the way, because their parents came from limestone cutters, or that's the insinuation anyway. They get mocked by the local college kids. Great father and son moments between Dennis Christopher and his dad, played by Paul Dooley. Just a superb movie. Number 55. This is one of the few, maybe the only foreign film I have on my list. Rafifi, directed by Jules Dassin. Great French heist movie. Very detailed, meticulous, stylish, whatever you want to say. Brilliant film. Sexy as well. There's some scenes in there that American audiences were not used to seeing because it was French and they didn't have, I guess, the code that we had here in the 50s. But there's some really cool scenes in this movie. The heist, I believe it's about a half hour long without any dialogue. Very effective, great direction. If you haven't seen this movie, please check it out. Rafifi, 1955. It happens to be my number 55. Number 54, can't stay away from the war films, especially when they're as good as this one. Stanley Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket from 1987. This is really two films in one. People have said this before. It's got the boot camp in the beginning, the first half of the film, which is so intense and comedic with Arlie Ermy as the drill sergeant, just putting these guys through the ringer. And then it's brutal, it's heartbreaking with the way the first half ends. Matthew Modine's in it. Vincent D'Onofrio is this sort of sympathetic character. And then the second half of the film is the Vietnam part of it, the drudgery of combat, hunting down a sniper, in-your-face violence. It's just an effective, unforgettable film that stood the test of time for me. I can watch this and get the same thing out of it that I did the first time around. Number 53, another one that I keep coming back to from what year was this? 2007, I believe. Tony Gilroy's Michael Clayton, starring George Clooney. Just an excellent legal thriller, very complex in the script, nuanced, well drawn out characters. I like the support of Tom Wilkinson and Tilda Swinton and Sidney Pollack as one of the upper echelon law guys, as an actor this time, not a director. George Clooney, one of his best roles, he plays the title character, Michael Clayton, a fixer for this law firm, trying to clean up whatever messes people make. Very suspenseful, some twists, some turns, and all around great acting and screenwriting. Number 52, Rocky from 1976, starring Sylvester Stallone. This is just a feel-good, underdog, kind of, rah-rah, kind of root for sports story, a love story in there, entertaining, inspiring, fantastic scene shot in the city of Philadelphia. And just the art museum steps, people running up, that's become a thing to do when you come to Philly now. Punching the sides of beef, working out, eating a dozen eggs or whatever he's drinking, just downing them in the morning. I love the training sequences, the musical score by Bill Conti. The fight scenes are terrific between Rocky, Stallone, and Carl Weathers, who plays Apollo Creed. Got Burgess Meredith as Mickey the trainer, and Burt Young as Paulie, and of course Talia Shire as the love interest. Just everything works perfectly in this film. Number 51 from 1949, The Third Man, another outstanding movie, black and white, one of the best examples of post-war Europe with the bombed-out buildings and atmospheric. I just love it. The sewers. There's a chase scene through the sewers of. It's shot in Vienna, on location. Stars Orson Welles, Joseph Cotten. Great film. There's so many memorable scenes. The Ferris wheel scene. If you haven't seen it, it's cool. What else is in here? Just a bunch of stuff that I have written down that I can't read right now. But anyway, there's a use of a zither for the music, which is unique in its own way. And if you see this movie, it's directed by Carol Reed, who later would do the best picture winner in Oliver, a musical. There you go, Brian. But The Third Man, excellent photography, cinematography stands out, as well as the performance by Orson Welles, who comes in later in the movie, and he's charismatic as only Orson can be. So that's my number 51.
Nice.
Great list.
Yeah.
I think I have seen all those movies, and a couple of them might be further up the list for me.
Cool.
I've not seen two of them, Rich. I've got to see Lady Eve, and I've got to see Rafifi. Then
Rafifi, I've got to see for sure.
Yeah,
I think both you guys would like Rafifi. The Lady Eve, if you go with the comedy of the time and the chemistry between Fonda and Stanwyck, you'll enjoy it.
Yeah,
it's excellent.
Yeah, definitely check it out. And some of those other movies you mentioned, they're going to be something that I'll mention probably further down the line here. So, for sure, excellent.
Yeah,
all right. I'll head on to my list here, guys. I'm going to start at number 60, of course. I've got Tropic Thunder here, directed by Ben Stiller from 2008. The movie that can no longer be made today is what we should call it. Satirical comedy following that group of self-absorbed actors filming in the Vietnam War movie who unwittingly become embroiled in a real conflict in the jungle. Great all-star cast, and really the guy who steals the show in it is Tom Cruise, who plays a movie executive who just puts a really nice lights out hip hop / asshole performance in it. It's just absolutely great and comedic. So really enjoy it. Number 59, I've got Bonnie and Clyde here, Arthur Penn's from 1967. It's the crime drama about the story of Bonnie Parker and Clyde Borrow, the notorious bank robbing couple during the Great Depression. The film is notable for its graphic violence and depiction of numerous heists and violent encounters. Just the blood that's shown in it probably was what kind of made it stand out at the time, and certainly had a great legacy going forward as far as how those types of violent films were going to be made in the future. So Bonnie and Clyde's at number 59 for me. At number 58, I've got Doc. I think you had this before. I've got Jurassic Park here, Steven Spielberg's 1993. Obviously, I think the dinosaurs are really the big stars of the film, but it also has Jeff Goldblum and Sam Neill and Laura Dern in it. Samuel L. Jackson in a very small role as well. Science fiction adventure where this billionaire philanthropist played by Sir Richard Attenborough and a team of geneticists create a theme park featuring clone dinosaurs. But when the park security fails, the dinosaurs escape, and it puts all the lives of the visitors in danger. So really, it's a movie that I can remember of the time, people telling me about it. And I'm glad that I held off and didn't watch it till I got into the theater, because once seeing it in a theater, completely different experience than it is watching it on a VHS tape, a couple months later. So moving on to number 57, Rich, you and I were really close on this one. I've got Rocky here.
Nice.
I think that and people describe it as a sports drama that follows the journey of Rocky Balboa. Doc, I think you always had the best description of it, and that really it's a love story in a lot of ways. So it's the movie featuring the underdog boxer played by Sylvester Stallone, who gets a once-in-a-lifetime shot to take on the heavyweight champion of the world, Apollo Creed, and the grueling training sequences. And like you said, that score by Bill Conti with the songs like, Gonna Fly Now and Going the Distance, just iconic music and stuff. Talia Shire does not get a lot. I mean, she was in so many good movies in the 70s. It doesn't seem like she got the kind of, notoriety that she really deserved. I think she's really the big central focus of this movie about why I think it works so well. So number 56, I've got Alien here from Ridley Scott, 1979. Another horror sci-fi. Think about that coming from me, right? That follows the crew of the spaceship Nostromo as they encounter a deadly extraterrestrial creature. Sigourney Weaver plays Ellen Ripley, whose resilience and leadership become pivotal as she confronts this alien threat. Ripley's strength and determination highlight the film's theme of like feminist power, making her an icon of the particular genre, and how female characters were portrayed, and strong going forward. A big part of that as well. So, moving on to 55 from 1998, I've got Peter Weir's The Truman Show here. Another great performance here by Jim Carrey, and the satirical drama that follows Truman Burbank, who he plays, who discovers his entire life has been on broadcast TV as a reality show without his knowledge. The film cleverly critiques the manipulation and voyeurism of reality television, exposing the ethical dilemmas of exploiting someone's life for entertainment. Also notable in this film, who does an excellent job, is Ed Harris's character as well. I think it's got a good, poignant commentary about the nature of reality and authenticity that I think makes it really strong even to this day. Number 54, going back in time to 1954, from Elia Kazan, On the Waterfront. I've got this gripping drama that follows Terry Malloy, portrayed by Marlon Brando, as a former boxer turned longshoreman who struggles with his conscience after witnessing corrupt union practices. As he begins to grapple with his own lost dreams of becoming a boxing champion, he finds himself torn between his loyalty to his brother and a quest for justice. So, really a really nice film. Marlon Brando in his prime here. I think it explores themes of person's potential and even redemption, and highlighting the impact of compromised aspirations in one's lives. Moving on to 53, I'm not sure if this version hasn't been mentioned, but from 1978, Philip Kaufman's Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Mhm.
I think, Doc, you had the earlier one, or somebody had the
Yes, I did.
You had the earlier one, yeah. Oh, it's a sci-fi horror. Did anybody expect to see that coming? Starring Donald Sutherland, San Francisco health inspector, and his colleagues discovered that humans are being replaced by these emotionless duplicates. As the invasion spreads, the protagonists find themselves increasingly isolated, unable to trust even the closest friends and allies. The film serves as a chilling allegory of isolationism and profound fear and paranoia. And everybody knows the iconic ending. If you haven't, then I'm not going to spoil it for you here. Go out and watch this movie, and you'll see for yourself. It's just fantastic. Moving on to number 52, moving forward in time, 1991, Jonathan Demme's The Silence of the Lambs. I wrote a paper about this, about the misogyny in this particular film, how the female characters are portrayed, and I think I got an A on it anyway. But it's a psychological thriller that follows FBI training Clarice Starling, portrayed by Jodie Foster, as she seeks the help of an imprisoned cannibalistic serial killer, Dr. Hannibal Lecter, who was portrayed by Anthony Hopkins wonderfully. And the dialogue is just incredible between those two. The weird psychosomatic chemistry between her and Hannibal is just incredible. The film's narrative is deeply infused with misogynistic tones, and Clarice navigates a male-dominant world where she's faced with both overt and subtle sexism. Her interactions with Lecter and other male characters highlight that pervasive gender biases and additional hurdles that females have to overcome in the pursuit of justice. And finally, at number 51, I've got from 1980, Irvin Kershner's The Empire Strikes Back. I think outside of maybe The Godfather 2, this is the best sequel in film, at least in my opinion anyway. And I think it's superior than A New Hope, even though that a lot of people would give a lot more weight because it was the original movie. This second installment of the original Star Wars trilogy follows Han and Luke and Leia as they battle the Galactic Empire's forces. This film is notable for its darker tone and unfulfilling ending, with Han Solo being captured and Luke discovering that Darth Vader's actually his dad, leaving the heroes in dire straits at the end. This unresolved conclusion adds depth and tension to the saga, and I think that because it did that, it set the stage not only to be able to have a sequel, but to kind of build this entire mythos around it, and realize that the good guy doesn't always win in the end all the time. So I really enjoy it. That's my number 51.
Awesome.
Great list.
It is real strong. I think you have two that I've had previous, and I think there's a couple more that I'm going to have later on.
I would probably say something like that. Yeah.
Every movie on there is excellent. It's just a matter of where you stack them up. They're all good.
Yeah.
This might be your first list that I have seen every movie on that.
I figured I was curious about Tropic Thunder. I didn't know whether you had seen it or not. So
he's going to turn around and say, in case I don't see you later. Good afternoon.
all right. So Doc, you get to close us out, buddy.
Here we go. So I'll jump right in.
Yeah.
Number 60 I started with, right? So here we go.
Yep.
I'm doing the 1991 follow-up to 1984's Terminator with Terminator 2 Judgment Day at number 60. You want to talk about sequels here. This is a great sequel to a really great fantasy kind of movie originally you saw with Terminator and stuff like this. And it's Judgment Day is an action-packed sci-fi flick, man. It really is. There's some stuff you've never seen before. Schwarzenegger coming back playing a different guy, and Skynet's the bad guys in the first one are up to their old tricks, going to go back to kill John Connor in a different way and see if they can still rule the planet, shall we say, from an AI perspective. But pretty good undertones. A lot of little meanings behind these movies sometimes, but maybe don't get thrown into it. But there is a pretty good little story going on here in this one too. So Terminator 2, man, always a fun watch for me. So yeah, it's making my list. Number 59. Rich, you might have had this one a while ago. So, but I got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood from 2019 with Quentin Tarantino.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a grow one. You might have something along the lines talking about this one here. This one's just one that grows on you. The performances are fantastic. It's Quentin doing Quentin with a fantastic script. His twist on what actually happens here with Sharon Tate Polanski living next door to Ricky Dalton and who's Leonardo DiCaprio and his best buddy Rick Booth, played by Brad Pitt. They're both the acting in this movie is fantastic, man, and they're all stellar. Pitt deserves the Oscar. DiCaprio's got some scenes in there that I just think are stellar as well. But Quentin Tarantino directed, written. That's the standard. Written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. It's got a spot for me, man, most times, and this is one of those times. It's in my top 100 favorites, man, and I don't think that's going to change. That'll always be there. Go to number 58 from 1999. I'm going to The Green Mile, actually. So this is like a messed up fantasy drama. These guys that are wrongfully accused, shall we say, convict, go walking the Green Mile, which is basically the green, electric chair. It's got a great cast here with Tom Hanks and Michael Clark Duncan. David Morrissey's in this, and Sam Rockwell makes an appearance. It's a great cast. Drake Cromwell, and the supernatural side of the story that it's told. It's a long movie, but it's a great watch. Is what I would say, and it's one of the ones that just I get hooked into stuff like this when it's done like this. It's got a real shows really, really well. I think Frank Dumont does a great job showing some Stephen King stuff here. This is one of those cases, and The Green Mile is a really, really good flick in my eyes, man. I love that movie. Number 57 from 1992. You guys will not be surprised this is on my list. Maybe place might be one thing, but I got Glengarry Glen Ross. So this is a movie I can watch at any time, man. It's action-packed. This is an ensemble cast that dies for it. I love acting, really good acting, and this is what I get in this movie, man. This is one of the best acted movies, I think, for this type of thing. It's the play-oriented thing we've talked about before, Dave Mallett's script and stuff like that. But Al Pacino, Ed Harris, Jack Lemmon, Alan Arkin, Kevin Spacey, and Alec Baldwin in a scene-stealing one-up shot. The script is fantastic. Real estate guys that are trying to get their hands on the Glengarry Glen Ross files to make the sales, and it's pretty deviating and the lengths they'll go to for different things to get a sale and stuff like that. But high end acting, man. This can float anywhere on my list, but I love the movie. So that's my number 57. Number 56, I'm going to 1987's The Field of Dreams because I like baseball. I love baseball. I love baseball movies, and I'll have more than one on my list. So Field of Dreams is just a sweet spot for me, man. Another sports fantasy movie. You know, if you build it, you will come. It's got everything behind that. Lawrence Kasdan making up payback for Kevin Costner making an appearance here. James Earl Jones. Basically a mystery that unravels on what they actually have to do or what he thinks he has to do to ease somebody's pain as it moves along and different things. You run across Burt Lancaster as different characters and different things like this, but it's a real fantasy movie, man. Built around baseball on a field that he makes in his farmer's field. You know, Shoeless Joe Jackson makes an appearance, and a whole bunch of ghosts from baseball past all show up to play some baseball in this guy's backyard at his farm. So it's a great movie. Field of Dreams. Number 55, Rich. Even in the same 10, buddy. I think that's pretty good. Roman Polanski's Rosemary's Baby.
Nice.
1968. You covered it off pretty good, man. John Cassavetes and Mia Farrow and Ruth Gordon as a scene stealer when she's in there, man. She's just a real devilish kind of person, the character in this, man. So, but yeah, it's there's a lot of undertones, a lot of underlying themes to this whole movie in a lot of senses, right? So it's got that feeling like it's all hunky dory at the beginning, and then it really does go sideways. You know, Satanism and pregnancy thrown into one movie is not what you really want to have cooking here as it goes along. But it's a captivating, slow paced kind of movie, and it's but you never look away, and that captivating part of the sentence is really true, man. You're into Rosemary's Baby when you're watching it. You're not letting go. And I like my horror movies and stuff like that too. And this is one of the classics in the realm here. So 54 from 1994. I'm going back to Frank Dormant, doing another Stephen King. I'm going to Shawshank. These are all watchables, and you know. The Andy Dufresne and Red characters here from Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman. It's a story, right? It's the banker who's wrongly convicted as you find it as you move along. I don't want to give too much away, but you know, if you got to see Shawshank Redemption in your life, that's what I can tell you if you're a movie kind of buff at any kind of level. So it's ranked very high, should we say, on some list of all-time great movies. So Shawshank is just a great watch, and that's some devilish undertones to it, and corruption, and everything else that goes on in a prison. That's Shawshank, and really some painful scenes to watch, and some really heartwarming scenes as well. So it tugs at you on both ends of the spectrum, I think, and that's what makes it really special. Number 53, I got Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. 1988. Michael Caine and Steve Martin. James Trumber, Linda Headley, basically a professional con in France, in the French Riviera, hooking up with a up and coming con and Steve Martin's character, and they think they can outdo each other and con the next person they think they kind of see, and they run across Linda's character, and that's Jeannie's character, I think, and man, it's just it's a hilarious ride here from Frank Oz that he put together a really funny movie, I think, and the banter between Michael Caine and Steve Martin in this movie, back and forth, thinking they're one trying to top each other in every scene almost. It's friggin' hilarious. And like a good comedy, man. Always trying to one up each other until they realize, you know, they might have swam the wrong end of the pool sometime too. So that's my number 53. 52, I got Good Will Hunting from 97. Just love the movie, man. It's another one of these acting kind of flicks that I think we've talked about it before. I think Robin Williams is fantastic in this movie. I think Matt Damon is fantastic in this movie. The supporting cast, maybe Skarsgård. It's Ben Affleck. Thank God he's not smiling in his scenes. This is a well-written movie. These guys deserved all the accolades they got for writing this movie. Affleck and Damon. It really set them on a career path, and well deserved, man. This movie's fantastic. It's script, it's a drama, it's a driven movie about somebody who has a lot of skill and hides it in a good way, and that really has to be pulled from them to find out how smart this kid really actually is and stuff like that. And it's Good Will Hunting is maybe not what it sounds like, but Will's a pretty good guy, man. So, and in the end, it's a powerful movie. I love the movie. Gonna leave me my number 51. Yeah, I like my war movies too, so I got one here. So, in 1986, I got Platoon, and this is Oliver Stone telling a real, shall we say, first-hand account to whatever level that might mean. But it's a story driven about following a platoon in Vietnam, and basically almost a tug of war internally at times between Tom Berenger's character and Wayne Dafoe's character, and running two different platoons and what they actually have to do. And it's violent. It shows, and you don't want to say the wrong thing. It's really well shown. This is, you want to see what a war movie might look like here in 1986. Man, this is exactly what it looked like when it's coming out. This is high-end movie making for what the time, and it still holds up, man. Platoon's a classic war movie. It's vicious. Script is awesome. I think Stone does a great job with this, man. And it's one of my favorite war movies, man. That's my number 51.
Excellent.
Oh,
Nice.
I of course have seen all of your movies, Doc, for sure.
Yeah, for
Me
sure.
too.
Some are coming soon. Some are, I don't know yet. So
Yep. Same here.
what do you?
I've seen them all as well.
See?
Nice.
I knew it.
So, has anybody keeping tabs? I mean, this time around, I know that we've given out 104 before, 149 out of 160. We had quite a few matches this time, though.
Yeah, it's gonna be that way the rest of the ride, I think.
Yeah, I feel like
I didn't keep track to answer your question, but I have a database that I'm keeping, and afterwards I'll log these in and see where we're at.
yeah, kind of see where we're at. It's kind of
Yeah.
interesting, but yeah, great list, guys, to finish out the first half of our top 100 favorite albums of all time. I really appreciate you guys doing this video with me for sure, and looking forward to this top 50. I want to see how this actually pans out, because the top 50 is going to be a lot more serious. I have a feeling, it's going to be like people are going to be locked in on their taste, and they're not going to move. So I'm really looking forward to it. So please like, sub, comment down below with your movies that maybe you have on your list. And thanks for watching us, and we look forward to bringing you some more material very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
See you.